You're listening to the Spaceship Earth with me, Dan Burgess. This is like today is a big experiment. It's like an outside broadcast. I haven't got a recording truck. It's just me. But yeah, I'm out in Bristol on the streets with looks like a lot of young people from Bristol who are taking part in the climate strikes, school climate strikes for the protesting against the abysmal lack of meaningful action from our political class around the world on climate change. The Fridays for Future movement, hashtag Fridays for Future. So it's a bit of an experiment. I'm down here. I'm going to march with them and try and have a few conversations to figure out what what groups of youngsters here are thinking about climate change, climate breakdown, what they think about what's going on, and why they're here. So yeah, a bit of an experiment. The sound's going to be a bit all over the shop. We know we've got kind of gale force winds. We've got thousands of people. We've got a lot of noise. It's just me and my handy trusty mic. So bear with me, but hopefully it will be an interesting conversation or two. Yeah, I'm just sort of curious what brings you down here today.
Well, I mean, I think climate change affects all of us, and I think we need to do our bit and just show that it matters and we care about it.
Solidarity, basically. I mean, I also just want to come here to learn a bit about more, like what are the problems affecting us, what are other people saying, and just trying to get involved with that, you know.
Nice. And what do you have you got any expectations about like these kind of march? What do you hope might happen? Do you have a sense of what you'd like to see happen?
Well, I mean, I think that we come to them and hopefully stuff will happen. But on the flip side, it's like, if we don't do these, then nothing happens, and we can only blame ourselves for not trying.
Okay.
So there's no real justification for not having them and not putting in the effort.
I reckon today's a big enough thing that perhaps we'll actually get some attention, unlike previous times where it's not really reported actually. And I mean, you're doing your bit, but perhaps the big news organisations should be doing more, putting it on the front page, and yeah.
Yeah, nice. So will you come back? Will you keep doing this? It's a monthly thing, right? Can you see yourselves committing to that?
I can definitely see myself coming back. Yeah.
Next time I'd bring food though.
I know they need a coffee guy here. That's why I know. Thanks a lot, guys. We appreciate it. Good luck.
It doesn't seem like it's important to go to school if they're not bothering putting effort into our future. Like they're trying to educate us, but they're not educated enough to realise that nothing actually matters if the earth doesn't, if we're not taking care of it, because it's the home of everyone, it affects everyone.
Yeah, basically the same. It's just about kind of protecting the planet because there isn't another one. So it's important that we, try and preserve it as much as we can and not damage it like we have already, and not go so far that then we can't reverse the damage.
And what would you like to? What do you hope will come out of these marches and these demonstrations? What would you like the government to be doing?
Well, hopefully, if there's a big turnout, not just here but globally, they'll realise that we're actually very serious about this. This is a very serious issue, and that it needs to be fixed, and that they should be passing laws and making this a priority, and not putting other irrelevant businesses. They shouldn't be putting that in front, because at the end of the day, how much money you have doesn't matter if we're all gone, basically.
Got it. And what brought you down here today? Why are you here?
Because we care about climate change and we want to declare climate emergency.
Yeah, I think it's just great to be able to say that you're a part of it. If at the end of it we get to make a difference, then to be able to be like, yeah, we were there, we took part, we helped. It's just, a nice feeling.
I just care about the climate, to be honest. That's why I'm here. I don't know, I just want to make a difference somehow.
Yeah. What do you guys hope will happen from this? What do you want out of these demonstrations?
That the council will listen to our protests and hope that they will declare climate emergency, because it's a real issue.
If politicians can start treating it like it is, like the emergency that it is, then I think this is sort of what we're aiming for. Just people recognising that it's urgent. We need to talk about it right now.
Got it. Did you get? Sorry, go on.
Wait, what was the question?
What do you hope will happen? What do you want to happen from these demonstrations?
I just hope that we'll get noticed more, to be honest, and that, I don't know, we're kind of giving it a voice.
Yeah. What do you think's missing then from like outside of like your networks and what do you think the public don't understand?
I think because it's happening in other places, the natural disasters, the droughts is happening abroad, no one seems to think that it's real. If there was a sort of mindset that we're in danger too and that this is real, that people are suffering from it, then we can really make a difference and reverse the effects of climate change.
Right. What do you hope will happen by doing this?
The government will take action on climate change and declare climate emergency and start making real progress.
That's fair enough. What would a climate emergency look like? If you were going to declare a climate emergency, like for the country, what would you do?
Put restrictions on power stations burning fossil fuels. Would you put taxes on emissions, so like the clean air taxes that's happening in Bath?
Big taxes for the dirty stuff, basically. Yeah.
Try and persuade them to stop.
And what would you say? What would you do? Because I always think like, what would you do for the people in the country that sort of maybe don't believe this is happening? What would you say to them?
I mean, just look at what's happening. The weather at the start, we had snow one week, followed by the hottest week of the year so far. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It's obviously there. Start trying to do something about it.
Got it. Right, well, enjoy your days. Why are you striking today?
I'm striking for the air pollution in Bristol. So I had an interesting meeting yesterday. Currently I'm working on this air pollution project. I'm an engineer. And I met with one of the Bristol Council guys who works on pollution. And apparently, I didn't realise this, but the pollution in Bristol has been beyond the legal level of pollution for quite a while now, which I think is pretty outrageous. So I'm not only here to support the kids and everyone else, but I just thought I'd be here to make that point as well.
Nice.
I think similar reasons to a lot of people here. I think it's time that everyone kind of came together to try and create a real change for the planet, because it's been too long and we've been left with a big problem, and I think it's time for the young generation to try and solve it.
What do you kind of hope will happen from these kind of demonstrations? What would good look like?
Well, I'm hoping the politicians will sort of see how serious climate change is, and I think there are a lot of companies and there are a lot of policies that are trying to do the right thing, but we just need a lot more of that.
Yeah, I think the government, I'd like to see trying to be honest and open about the state of the climate and what they intend to do about it, because I just don't think what they're doing at the moment is enough. You can read a lot of resources online, like the IPCC report from 2018, which states that we're currently on track to hit 1.5 degrees of global warming by 2030 or 2040, and that's actually quite a conservative estimate. It could be much sooner than that. So I'd like to see the government be more open and put out real plans about decarbonisation and what they intend to do to solve this.
What brings you down here today?
Well, we're very passionate about climate change and our future.
Right. What are you? Yeah, right. But what? So what are you hoping will happen from coming to
We're
this?
hoping the government will wake up to it and actually do something to protect our future and listen to the youth.
Okay. And what would you like to see? What would that look like if they were going to start listening? What kind of things would you want to?
Just cut down on fossil fuels, and just listen overall. We feel like we want to have a voice, a youth voice in the government.
Okay.
I feel like we're lacking. I feel that particularly. Just an overall show that they're listening, and we've stopped focusing on things like Brexit, which overall aren't that important, and stuff like this is just really important. We only got 12 years.
And that's our future.
That's our future, not theirs.
Yeah.
We matter, essentially.
What do you think people generally outside of your generation? Do you think people get what's going on, or what's missing? Do you think from more people understanding what's happening?
I just don't think they truly understand. I think they keep putting it to the side, thinking we got to focus on other things. But no, this is what we've got to focus on. This is very important.
What brings you down here today?
Well, if you want to get people to know that things are going on, then you're going to have to make a difference. So, if you're taking yourself out of education, people have to notice that. So the teachers have to notice, and then, the community has to notice. And change is obviously needed in the next short period of time. Otherwise, it's going to get worse and worse. Like you can already see. What was it? The warmest April in 90 years last year, and then the record was beaten again this year. So, you know.
What would you want to see happen? Like, what is it you're looking to? Your hope will come from these marches.
There's obviously huge corporations that are the classic, pumping a lot of energy out, and then there's oil fracking and all the rest of it, and mining for rare resources that shouldn't be, you know, exploited. Cars are a huge source of it, planes. So I think cutting out cars and driving in city centres. I think switching to more eco-friendly cars, and I think making public transport free would be a huge impact on this.
Cool. So I'm just curious as to, you know, why you're striking today.
Because I feel like it needs to change. Like, the government needs to pay attention to what's going on in the world and start making a difference rather than just ignoring it, basically.
Okay.
Well, I'm against global warming, and I want to show that as much as possible, because if other people aren't going to do it, and if I want other people to do it, then I should do it myself as well.
Got it. So what would because this is like the second month, right? So, and it's going to happen on a monthly basis. Will you keep coming back? And what do you want to happen? What would good look like?
Like the government paying attention to it and not thinking that it's just kids wanting to get out of school, and actually trying to make a difference and stopping some of the really bad things that are happening. And yeah, I think it definitely would come back to more marches if I can. Definitely.
What brings you down here today?
Personally, for me, it's more about the ecological crisis we're facing and how so many species are going extinct every single day, and like governments across the world aren't acting properly enough.
And what do you want to see happen? What would good look like?
I'd want more and more policies devoted to stopping climate change and reversing the detrimental effects it's going to have, and also stop desertification, less habitat loss, and yeah.
Yeah. And what do you say to, like, I mean, I guess there's still a lot of people in the country who are going, oh, you know, climate change, what, kids get back into school. What do you make of all that? What do you say to that?
I'd say get back on the right side of history.
People gonna rise like the water. We're gonna shut this system down. In the voice of my great granddaughter, sing climate justice now. Louder! People gonna rise like the water. We're gonna shut this system down. In the voice of my great granddaughter, sing climate justice now. Louder! People gonna rise like the water. We're gonna shut this system down. In the voice of my great granddaughter, sing climate justice now. What do we want? Climate justice! Want it now!
So there you go. That was a little experiment on Friday out in Bristol on the youth climate strikes and march. Hashtag Fridays for Future. All started by Greta Thunberg, the 15 or 16-year-old now from Sweden. And I think there was she started this last year, just striking on her own, where she lived in Sweden. And now I think yesterday they reckon there was something like 1.2 million estimated young people on the streets all over the world striking in protest of what is a seriously poor lack of engagement and action from our political class and the government. So I was quite blown away yesterday. I went down with my son, and it was sort of, really kind of hopeful in many ways, but also quite disturbing for me anyway. In that it was hopeful because it's just the energy. There's an amazing energy, and it's amazing to see a generation that are starting to stand up for this stuff, and they get it and they understand the complexity of it, but they understand the kind of the urgency. And it's actually quite mind-boggling when you realise that the gulf in understanding, comprehension, if you like, from the older generation and the ruling class, if you like, and the younger generations coming through. And I found it, I guess the kind of the uncomfortable bit for me, again, is, the fact that where is everyone? Where are the leaders and I guess the older generation who effectively, I guess, are still sort of steering the ship. And so I guess, but the flip side, seeing the energy, seeing this spreading, seeing this kind of young people standing up, and I think, again, it's like they're really well informed, very considered, really good spirit. Like there's no crazy stuff going on. And for some very clear asks, if you check out like the UK Student Climate Network, which is the sort of organising group now, at least in the UK, got some really clear asks to government. It's effectively declare a climate emergency because it's climate breakdown. Scientists reckon probably 10, 12 years max before things can become ridiculously crazy for life on Earth. So declare an emergency, help people understand what's going on and how to adapt. That's the big thing. You think, that makes sense, right? Admit there's a problem and let's do something about it. Shift the curriculum, adapt the curriculum so that it's ecologically literate, it's climate literate, it's if children are going to be in school and learning, at least they're learning what the reality is of the planet they're on and how to deal with the complexity of the future. Yeah, that seems to make sense. And also they're looking for a voting age to drop from 18 to 16, so they actually have a say in the policies that are affecting them probably more than anyone else on the planet. And I would say, why wouldn't you want a younger generation engaged in policy and in politics and active? Makes total sense to me. So I think this, I would encourage anyone, if you're curious about the climate demonstrations now that the climate strikes, join in. Just it's not all about youngsters. I mean, there were all kinds of people that are getting involved, and I think it's really important to start stepping up with this generation and alongside them. And like I say, it's not down to them. It's down to us and all of us that have any kind of influence. Or anything that we do in our lives to actually start to acknowledge this. And the more we start to acknowledge and engage in this, then who knows what can happen. But it was a great day. I shall be going every month for sure. So anyway, little experiment. Hope you enjoyed that. It was great to get a little sense of what was going on, at least from some of the young on the streets in Bristol. And hit me up if that was fun or interesting. I should do more of them, for the outside broadcast unit of the Spaceship Earth podcast. Okay, folks, until next time, remember there are no passengers on Spaceship Earth. We're all crew. Peace and out.